Adidas Kobe Crazy 1 outdoor review. Let's get into it. Really quick before we get into it, I just want to say this video is timestamped, so if you are looking for anything in particular about the Adidas Kobe 1, whether that is the midsole or the traction durability, you'll have little chapters on the bottom of the video, so feel free to jump ahead if you want to. The price of the Adidas Kobe 1 retails for $150 and it originally released in 2000. But starting off with the materials on the Adidas Kobe 1, we have some really weird materials, like all over this thing. It's just a very weird shape in general, but the main portion of the lateral medial side, all of this off-white color you see here, excluding the midsole of course, is a vinyl material. It feels like vinyl. It completely wraps around. It's pretty stiff, but I think that's mostly just due to the backing behind it, all the padding and structure behind it. But moving on to the tongue, we have just a regular nylon tongue. It's pretty thick. Part of it has the vinyl on it going on like halfway of the tongue, if you can see that, the off-white portion here. The rest of the black is just like a regular mesh tongue, and it's pretty well padded. It's pretty thick and large. It is not gusseted, by the way, so the tongue does move pretty freely, and we'll talk about that later. It's very annoying. You have a rubber toe cap at the top. There is no drag guard on this. It's just this one weird toe cap, and then on the heel you do have an external heel counter. It is very low. It is pretty rigid though. It's very stiff and cups your heel well. And then for the padding, this is where it gets weird. It's almost like double padded. You have these weird vinyl wings on the top of the shoe, and then you have this like fake leather lining on the ankle portion of the padding. It's pretty thick padding. Everything in here is really thickly padded and pretty decently sculpted. You do have a lot of padding in the heel also. The insole is just your really crummy Adidas insole, and then the Strobel board is a really stiff textile, which kind of sucks. But all in all, how do the uppers feel on the Adidas Kobe 1? They feel horrible. They're horrible. I don't know what else to say. Like, this is one of the worst shoes I put on my feet, performance-wise. The lining inside is really comfortable, until you just move your foot like 1 inch, take like one little bend of a step, then you get some crazy pinching. I hope you can see it in the B-roll, but there is some serious crease marks on the, like, towards the toe area. And the tongue, when I was playing, would constantly just fall down, and so the laces, where I tied it, they didn't even stay on the tongue. The tongue didn't stay there, so it's just almost rubbing against my just bare ankle, and so that was really uncomfortable. The heel slippage on this is pretty decent, even when I cranked it down. It's kind of weird. You wouldn't think that just because of how like well padded it is, but it's super low, and it's just kind of an awkward shoe. No part of it I liked, other than the amount of padding you get in the heel, but the tongue was really bad and slippery. The uppers did not break in at all. They still haven't broken in. They're still very stiff and just a really horrible material to play basketball in. So all in all, if you're looking for any sort of comfort at all in the Adidas Kobe 1, it is not going to be there. It is one of the most horrible shoes I've ever put on my feet in terms of comfort for the uppers. The quality you're getting on the uppers is not anything crazy. I don't really like the screen. I think the padding is generous. The fake leather inside of the heel portion, like where your ankle would hit the padding, is just really stupid, in my opinion. No part of this really felt super quality, especially for $150. It was pretty disappointing. The lockdown in the Adidas Kobe 1 was pretty bad. Like I said earlier, there was a lot of heel slippage. You didn't feel like you were going to be stable inside of the shoe. It felt like your heel wanted to kind of pop out sometimes. The support, however, is fantastic because everything is super stiff. You're going to have fantastic support. There is almost no bending in this shoe. It is just like they have this torsion system in the bottom. It's this giant plate that runs through it. It's incredibly stiff. You can see it come up in the midsole right here, this plastic piece. But there's no bending. You can't even bend it this way. Like, it's only the toes, that's it, and then everything else is very difficult to bend, so that kind of sucks. If you do need a lot of support though, like let's say you're a big man really worried about rolling your ankle, these might be good for you. Moving on to the midsole of the Adidas Kobe 1, I believe it's just a regular EVA midsole. It's fairly squishy. It's not anything crazy. It kind of reminds me of Nike's Renew, if you've ever tried that. Something along those lines, just a basic EVA, but it's a really low stack, and you definitely have a ton of court feel. It doesn't really look like that, just with the way of all the bulkiness of this shoe, but you do get a good court feel, and the torsion system in the bottom makes this thing, like I said earlier, really rigid and really just hard to bend in any way. There is not really an outrigger on it. It's just kind of the protruded foam kind of acts as an outrigger on the shoe. So if you want to count that, I guess you can say there is one. But overall, how comfortable was the Adidas Kobe 1 in the midsole department? Well, it was not terrible. I do wish it was a higher stack, to be honest, just with this foam. I think that Strobel board being a super stiff textile also hurt this, because you don't get like a ton of squish out of it when you do heel compressions or anything like that. It does feel like you're slamming into concrete. When you go for landings or something, there's just not a ton there in the forefoot either. So the comfort was not really that good. Moving on to the traction of the Adidas Kobe 1, we have a full-length herringbone traction. You do have the Adidas logo in the forefoot, and then 3 just random rubber circles in the toe, towards the toe area. And then you have a really large, just solid rubber ring around the entire outsole. This will help with durability, with those high wear areas. Probably are going to wear down, so with it just being solid, it's not going to really wear anything down. You can see in the toe right here, it is really far up on it. Like the herringbone tread does not go anywhere close to the outside of the shoe. And then towards the midfoot, where it kind of peels upward, if you can see it, where the arch is in that torsion system plate, it's more of a larger herringbone. That doesn't really matter because this is not ever going to touch the ground really. But so far the traction has felt really good. I won't have any wet slippage or squeak test this week. Unfortunately, the person that helps me film all that is not here. So all I have is just B-roll footage of me playing. But so far the traction has been pretty good. Moving on to the durability of the Adidas Kobe 1. The uppers are going to be probably pretty durable. I'll keep you guys posted with the 1 month updates and all my durability updates that I do on this channel. I haven't played in the shoe long enough to give like a whole update. I've only played it a couple weeks. But so far it's looking pretty good. It does get a little mangled looking, I will say that, but this vinyl is really thick, so I think it'll protect your foot and probably last a good while. I do worry though for the sole separation of this, just because of how rigid all the materials are and how the shoe is built. But the traction of the Adidas Kobe 1 should be really durable too. The grooves are not the most wide set apart in the world, and you can move them around decently easy, but the ring, the solid rubber ring on the entire outsole will definitely help with the high wear areas and keep the shoe alive for a lot longer. So my biggest takeaways for the Adidas Kobe 1 is they're extremely uncomfortable. This shoe is, yeah, it's horrible in terms of comfort. They play a lot like bricks because of how rigid this torsion system is. You get almost no flexibility in this shoe, and you can definitely feel just clunking on the court or on the concrete, which I was on, and it's not good. Another big takeaway for me was the fit. This was a size 8. I'm typically a size 9, so if you do decide to get these performance-wise, I would recommend going a full size down. If you just want to get these casually, I'd probably say just go a half size down. And the last big takeaway for me is these shoes feel like bricks when you play in them, but they also don't. It's kind of weird. They do have a decent outrigger, and they're low to the ground. If it wasn't just so rigid and so stiff, I think the shoe would actually be really good. It's just a really stiff shoe, which is kind of a shame. I did like the heel padding. I thought that was good. The heel slippage did kind of worry me a little bit, but this shoe just had a little bit of tweaks to it. If Adidas could just give it a little bit more, I guess, modernism to it, just make it a little more free on the foot, then I think the shoe would actually perform really well. And that'll do it, guys, for the review on the Adidas Kobe 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. So if you really do like the video, you like what I'm doing here, I've got all sorts of other types of videos too. Please like the video, subscribe. As a little incentive, I will do an outdoor review on the Adidas AE1. I will destroy the traction, I will rip it up, because I know for a fact this is not going to last at all. But if we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will take these outdoors and beat them up. But that'll do it for today, and I will see you in the next one.